Numerical problems. An object is falling freely under gravity. How much distance will it travel in second and third second of its journey? Solution. Acceleration due to gravity is 9.8 meter per second square. Distance traveled in second and third second is required. For first second, we can use the equation of motion. S is equals to VIT plus half AT square. And here we are talking about height, so distance will be h is equals to VIT 1 plus half, that is equals to 0.5 g t1 square. Here acceleration is g, gravitational acceleration. So initial velocity is 0, time for first second is 1, and putting the values and solving, we get height is equals to 4.9 meters. For second, we can use the similar procedure and just putting T2 is equals to 2, and we get height is equals to 19.6 meters. For third second, we can use the similar procedure by putting T3 is equals to 3 seconds, and we get height is equals to 44.1 meters. For calculating the distance traveled in second, we can subtract the height for second with first second, and we get 19.6 minus 4.9, that is equals to 14.7 meters and equals to 15 meters. And we can calculate distance traveled in third second of object's journey by subtracting height for third second 44.1 meters with height for second 19.6 meters, and we get 24.5 meters, that is equals to 25 meters. So distance traveled in second of object journey is 15 meters and distance traveled in third second of object journey is 25 meters. Question number 2. A helicopter is ascending vertically at a speed of 19.6 meter per second when it is at a height of 156.8 meters above the ground. A stone is dropped. How long does it take to reach the ground? How long does the stone take to reach the ground? When a helicopter is ascending vertically with a speed of 19.6 meters from point P to point Q, and from point to point Q height is 156.8 meters, and at this point a stone is dropped. Stone will not come down, it will rise from dropping point Q to maximum height R, from dropping point Q to maximum height R, because helicopter is ascending and then fall freely from point R to the ground. Calculation of time taken from point Q to point R. At point Q, initial velocity is 19.6 meter per second at this point. At point R, velocity is 0 meter per second because it is the highest point. Using equation of motion, Vf is equals to Vi plus A T. Here A is gravitational acceleration, so it's written as minus g because stone is moving upward. So for upward motion we use minus g, and by putting values of Vi and g and time t1 is equals to 2 seconds. After solving we get time t1 is equals to 2 seconds. As h1 is height from Q to R, from Q to R height is h1. We can use the equation of motion 2as is equals to Vf square minus Vi square. Here we are talking about height, so we put A is equals to g and h is equals to h1 for this height from Q to R, and final velocity is 0 at this point. Initial velocity is 19.6 meter per second, and of course g is negative here too, and after solving we get h1 is equals to 19.6 meters. Calculation of total height will be this h1 plus this h2. Now we have value of h1 is equals to 19.6 meters and h2 is given as 156.8 meters. By adding them we get height is equals to 176.4 meters. Calculation of time taken from point R to point P. At point R, velocity is 0 meter per second. Using the equation of motion, S is equals to VIT plus half AT square. Putting the values, and after solving we get time T2 is equals to 6 seconds. Calculation of total time taken from point Q to R and R to P. From Q to R and R to P, we can add time T1 and time T2 and we get time is equals to 8 seconds. So 8 seconds will be required first on to reach the ground. Question number 3. A car moving at 20 meters per second crashes into a tree. Find the magnitude of the average force acting on the passenger of mass 70 kg in each of the following cases. In case 1, the passenger is not wearing a seat belt. He is brought to rest by the collision with the windshield and dashboard that lasts 2.0 milliseconds. Solution. Initial velocity is given as 20 meters per second. Final velocity is 0 after impact and mass is 70 kg. Time is 2 milliseconds, so we can convert it and it is equals to 2 exponent minus 3 seconds. We need to calculate the force, and for force we need to calculate acceleration, and we can calculate it from the formula of acceleration, that is rate of change of velocity is acceleration and change in velocity is Vf minus Vi divided by t. Final velocity is 0, initial velocity is 20 meters per second, time t is 2 exponent minus 3 and after solving we get acceleration is equals to minus 10 exponent 3 meter per second square. We can use the formula F is equals to ma to calculate the force. Mass is 70, acceleration is 10 exponent 3 in magnitude and after solving we get force is equals to 7.0 exponent 5 Newton. In part B, calculate the car is equipped with a passenger side airbag. The force due to the airbag acts for 45 milliseconds, bringing the passenger to rest. Solution. Initial velocity is 20 meters per second. Final velocity is 0 after impact. Mass is 70 kg. Time is 45 exponent minus 3 seconds. We need to calculate the force. We will use the formula of acceleration. Rate of change of velocity is acceleration. Putting the values of velocity and time, and after solving we get a is equals to minus 0.44 exponent 3 meter per second square. By using the formula of force, F is equals to ma and putting the values we get force is equals to 3.1 exponent 4 Newton. Question number 4. A 0.4 kg ball traveling with a speed of 15 meters per second strikes a rigid wall and rebounds elastically. If the ball is in contact with the wall for 0.45 seconds, what is the momentum imparted to the wall and the average force exerted on the wall? Solution. Mass is 0.4 kg. Initial velocity is 15 meters per second. Final velocity is 0. Time is 0.0545 seconds. We need to calculate the momentum and average force. For change in momentum, we know that we can subtract final momentum with initial momentum. That is final momentum Pf minus initial momentum Pi. Because of the change in direction, opposite direction, we use negative sign here and magnitude of momentum is same, so we get delta P is equals to minus 2 mv, and putting the values of mass and velocity we get change in momentum is equals to 12 kilogram meter per second in magnitude only, and we can calculate average force from the formula delta P divided by T. Rate of change of linear momentum is equals to force. By putting the value of linear momentum, change in linear momentum and time, we get average force that is equals to 266.7 Newton. Numerical number 6. In a wedding, a bullet is fired in air at a speed of 500 meter per second, making an angle of 60 degree with horizontal from an AK-47 rifle. How high will the bullet rise? Solution. As velocity is 500 meter per second, angle is 60 degree. We need to calculate height, and formula of height is h is equals to vi square sine square theta divided by 2g. Putting the values of vi, initial velocity, angle and g, we get height, that is equals to 9,566 meters. In part B, we need to calculate what time would it take to reach the ground, and for total time of flight we can use t is equals to 2 vi sine theta divided by 2g. This is the formula which we derived in previous lecture, and putting the values of vi, angle theta and g, we get total time t is equals to 88.3 seconds. In part C, we need to calculate how far would it go. So range is equals to vi square sine 2 theta divided by g. Putting the values of vi, theta and g, we get range r is equals to 22,092 meters, 22092 meters. Question number 7. The catapult hurls a stone of mass 32 gram with a velocity of 50 meter per second at a 30-degree angle of elevation. What is the maximum height reached by the stone? What is its range? How long has the stone been in the air when it returns to its original height? Solution. For maximum height, we can use the formula h is equals to vi square sine square theta divided by 2g. By putting all the values, we get height is equals to 31.88 meters. In part C, we need to calculate the time. T is equals to 2 vi sine theta divided by 2g. And by putting all the values in this formula, we get time t is equals to 5.1 seconds. In part B, we need to calculate the range, and by using the formula of range, that is r is equals to vi square sine 2 theta divided by g. Putting all the values, we get range is equals to 220.8 meters. Conceptual questions or short questions related to chapter Forces and Motion. If you are riding on a train that speeds past another train moving in the same direction on an adjacent track, it appears that the other train is moving backward. Why? Answer is, your reference frame is that of the train you are riding. If you are traveling with a relatively constant velocity, then you will interpret your reference frame as being at rest, since you are moving faster than the other train. The other train is moving backwards relative to you. Seeing the other train go past your window from front to rear makes it look like the train is going backward. So it is due to your frame of reference. Question number 2. Can the velocity of a body reverse the direction when acceleration is constant? If you think so, give an example. Answer. Yes, it can be possible. When a body is thrown vertically upward, its velocity goes on decreasing due to gravity and becomes zero at the maximum height. After that, it will reverse its direction of velocity, but the magnitude of acceleration remains constant during whole flight. So it is very simple. When object is thrown upward, it will start decreasing its velocity due to effect of gravity, and at certain height its velocity will become zero, and after that it will reverse its direction, but magnitude of its acceleration will remain constant. Question number 3. When you stand still on the ground, how long a force does the ground exert on you? Why does not this force makes you rise up into the air? Answer. If you are at rest, the net force on you is zero. Hence, the ground exerts a force on you exactly equal to your weight. The two forces acting on you sum to zero, and so you do not accelerate. If you squat down and then push with a larger force against the ground then pushes back on you with a larger force by Newton's third law and can then rise into the air. So when you're standing still on the ground, the action and reaction forces are equal. That's why the ground exerts a force on you exactly equal to your weight. Question number 4. A man standing on the top of a tower throws a ball vertically up with certain velocity. He also throws another ball vertically down with the same speed, neglecting air resistance. Which ball will hit the ground with larger speed? Answer. The ball will reach their maximum height in the air and then hit the ground at the same speed. However, if the man throws the second ball forward, then the first ball will have higher speed due to a greater altitude. Question number 5. The cricket coach explains that the follow through with the shot will make the ball travel a greater distance. Explain the reasoning in terms of the impulse momentum theorem. Answer. During the follow through, the bat is in contact with the ball for a longer time. According to impulse momentum theorem, the change in momentum is equal to impulse. In order to impart more momentum into a ball so that the ball travels a greater distance, a greater impulse is needed, which is achieved by a longer time of contact between bat and ball. And we have discussed this thing in our topic that was in chapter forces and momentum, impulse and change in momentum. Question number 6. When you release an inflated but united balloon, why does it fly across the room? Answer. When you release an inflated but united balloon at rest, the gas inside the balloon at high pressure rushes out the open end of the balloon. That escaping gas and the balloon form a closed system, and so the momentum of the system is conserved. The balloon and remaining gas acquires a momentum equal and opposite to the momentum of the escaping gas, and so move in the opposite direction to the escaping gas. Question number 7. Modern cars are not rigid but are designed to have crumple zones, irregular fold that collapse upon impact. What is the advantage of this new design? Answer. Crumple zones are areas of a vehicle that are designed to crush into a controlled way in a collision. This part is known as crumple zone, front crumple zone, and this part is known as rear crumple zone. They increase the time taken to change the momentum of the driver and passenger in a crash, which reduces the force involved. As we know that rate of change of linear momentum is equals to force, so when time taken to change the linear momentum is large, is greater, so automatically force will be reduced because force is equals to delta P change in momentum divided by T, and there is inverse relation between T and force. Due to less time, force will be increased, so to increase the time we use these crumple zones which will increase the time, and so force will be decreased. Question number 9. An airplane while traveling horizontally dropped a bomb when it was exactly above the target. The bomb missed the target. Explain why. Answer. The phenomena can be explained by projectile motion when the bomb is dropped. The plane has some velocity which is not zero, and hence the bomb which is inside the plane also has the same velocity. When the bomb is dropped, it has an initial velocity equal to that of the velocity with which the plane was moving, hence it falls ahead instead of falling horizontally. As we know that when airplane is traveling horizontally and we drop the bomb exactly on the point where the target is, so due to the velocity of airplane, the ball is also having some velocity and it will travel horizontally and then it will be dropped, so it will miss the target. Question number 10. Calculate the angle of projection for which kinetic energy at the summit is equal to 1/4 of its kinetic energy at the point of projection. Solution. Kinetic energy minimum of the projectile at the highest point is, we know that at highest point kinetic energy will be minimum, that is equals to half mv square, and vi is equals to vi cos theta, and by using formula half mvi we can write kinetic energy initial, because vi is initial velocity, half mvi square gives initial kinetic energy. So kinetic energy minimum is equals to kinetic energy initial cos theta. Kinetic energy minimum is equals to kinetic energy initial cos theta square. Let's say equation number 1. For given condition, kinetic energy minimum is equals to 1/4 kinetic energy initial. Putting value from equation number 1, and we get kinetic energy initial cos theta square is equals to 1/4 kinetic energy initial, because the value of kinetic energy minimum is kinetic energy initial cos theta square, and by putting the value we get this equation. From here we get cos theta square is equals to 1/4, because kinetic energy initial is cancelled by kinetic energy initial, and by taking square root on both sides we get cos theta is equals to 1/2. For finding theta, we get theta is equals to cos inverse 1/2, and theta is equals to 60 degree. Question number 11. For an specific velocity of projection, the range of projectile cannot exceed from a value equal to 4 times of the corresponding height discussed. Height of projectile is 1/4 of maximum range. That is given in question. Maximum range of projectile is at 45 degree. So maximum range is equals to vi square divided by g, which we have discussed in previous lecture, and angle of projection is 45 degree. Height is equals to vi square sine square theta divided by 2g. We discussed this formula in previous lecture by putting the values, and after solving we get height is equals to vi square divided by 4g. As we know that our maximum is equals to vi square divided by g, by putting vi square divided by g is equals to r maximum, we get h is equals to 1/4 r maximum, and r maximum is equals to 4h. Question number 12. What is the angle for which the maximum height reached and corresponding range are equal? Solution. According to the given condition, height is equals to vi square sine square theta divided by 2g, and range, formula of range is vi square sine 2 theta divided by g. According to the given condition, height is equals to range. Putting the values of the height and range, putting the formula of height and range, and vi square is cancelled by vi square, g is cancelled by g, and we get sine square theta divided by 2 is equals to sine 2 theta, and putting sine 2 theta is equals to 2 sine theta cos theta. This is the relation, that sine 2 theta is equals to 2 sine theta cos theta, and we get sine theta is equals to 4 cos theta. Sine theta is cancelled by square, and 2 is multiplied by 2, and we get sine theta is equals to 4 cos theta, and sine theta divided by cos theta is equals to 4. So sine theta divided by cos theta is tan theta, and tan theta is equals to 4. Theta is equals to tan inverse 4, and we get theta is equals to 76 degree. So for 76 degree, maximum height reached is equals to corresponding range.